Hello and welcome to today's yoga teachings. In this session we're focusing on the importance of the pranayama practice. And pranayama literally means the breathing practices, and prana is the life force energy. Ayama is the control or the extension of that life force energy. So this is an incredibly powerful practice that often gets minimized in our yoga practices as we go into the modern yoga studios that focus on the physical practice. So what I want to impart to you today is the incredible importance of using the breath to balance not only the body, but also the energy, the emotions, and the mind. And this is even more powerful than the physical postures for affecting the emotions and the mind. So if we can bring this conscious breathing into our daily life, it has a tremendous impact at all the levels of our being. Now, when we do this breathing, there are many different styles of pranayama techniques. And we have techniques that can actually give us more energy. We have techniques that can calm us down, and there are different techniques that help to balance. So there's basically a technique for whatever we need. And we start to understand that this is more powerful than the physical postures, although, of course, the physical postures are absolutely necessary. We need a strong, healthy, flexible body, but that's the foundation. To go deeper into the science of yoga really means to go deeper into these breathing practices. So what do these practices do for us? Well, at the energetic level, they help to purify and cleanse, activate, balance our energetic channels known as nadis. And we have what the yogis say, 72,000 nadis within our being. And everything is connected to everything else. And through the breathing, we start to purify, sending the energy, the prana, the life force, because every breath in is a breath of life force. It's not just oxygen. It's actually the prana that animates every cell, every part of this universe is subsisting on this pranic vital force. So with each breath in, we're actually taking in something that helps to sustain us, and it's our connection between the body, the energy, the emotions, and the mind. So the more we breathe long, deep, and slow with conscious awareness of the breath, the healthier we are at all the levels of our being. It's actually very simple. It's just a matter of applying this practice to your life every day. So if you would like to be healthy, if you'd like to be happy, if you want to balance your mind and your emotions and feel better throughout the day, start your morning with 5 minutes, 10 minutes of conscious breathing practices. And you'll see immediately an effect. Really, it only takes just a few minutes and you start to feel like you're either more calm or more energized or more balanced, whatever your goal and intention is for that practice. So as we go through these practices, understand that it's energizing the nadis, the energy channels, but it's also starting to activate what are called the chakras, the energy centers. And these energy centers, of which there are 7 main centers throughout the spine, the central channel, we call it in yoga, and these 7 energy channels are related to every aspect of human experience. So with different pranayama techniques, you can activate different chakras. If you need more vitality and you need more energy throughout the day, you work with your root chakra and you can do a pranayama breathing practice to help activate that energy. Let's say you need more willpower. You can do something for the navel chakra, a pranayama practice that activates the energy there, and it gives you more personal willpower, more strength and courage. If you need to be able to speak more loudly or speak truth or receive truth, you can work with the throat chakra. And there are always different techniques that apply to each of the chakras. So once you start to understand that this is part of the path of yoga, you look at yourself and you say, what is it that I need to evolve or to let go of, to purify or to amplify? And through choosing the correct pranayama technique, you can work with anything in your being. So this is why I really want to encourage you to do this, because it takes you to the next level of yoga. We can all do the physical practices and be strong and healthy and fit, but to work with our consciousness, our emotions, and our mind at a deeper level, we go into the deeper pranayama practices. So it's also working, of course, with all the physical things in our being. Respiration, heart rate, the central nervous system is affected. When we breathe deeply and consciously, that also impacts the hypothalamus, which is connected to our emotions. So everything is really impacted by this breath. So I encourage you to watch our other videos, which teach us how to do these breathing practices, and just try and make the experiment, because you'll never know until you try it for yourself. And just sit down each morning for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you have 15, great. But try it every day for a week. And at the end of the week, you can judge for yourself. Is this something I need to incorporate into my life? And everybody I know who does breathing practices starts to realize how effective it is. And it's hard to go back to not doing the breathing practices after you feel so good each morning. And it helps us to let go of the things that we use to stimulate our mind or calm us down. The things like substances that are toxic, whether it be caffeine or cigarettes or alcohol or drugs. Now we can start to feel good and even like get high just through breath. It doesn't cost anything, there's no hangover. So it's a win-win for everybody involved. And the better you feel in the morning, the better you approach your day. So it's a practice that helps not only you, but everybody in your life. Because as you move into the world from a place of peace and balance, the world around you reflects that back to you, and the people around you are going to appreciate your presence in their life much more. So remember to work with these practices, and I hope that you give it a try. That's all I can do is encourage you. It's up to you to take responsibility for your own health, your happiness, and your well-being. And even more than that, these practices guide us into meditation. Because as we do pranayama for longer and longer, the mind can become more stable until it reaches a place of stillness. And that's really the ultimate goal of yoga, is coming into a place of stillness and finding that inner peace. So this is medicine. It's like therapy for our modern life. It addresses every part of our being, and it helps us to evolve consciously into our highest states of consciousness. And I'd like to share this quote with you about the value of pranayama. When the breath is unsteady, everything is unsteady. But when the breath is still, all else is still. So one should breathe carefully. Inhalation gives strength in a controlled, purified body, and retention gives steadiness of mind and longevity. Exhalation is totally purifying. So please understand that as we begin to go deeper into the science, we start to focus on the 4 different aspects of the breathing practice. Inhalation, the retention of breath or holding the breath in the lungs after inhalation, then exhalation. And then we have a retention of breath or the holding of the breath with the lungs empty. And what Patanjali, the famous author of the Yoga Sutra, says is that pranayama is really that retention of breath. Because when we slow the breath down or stop it, this helps to stop the movements of the mind. So it's a very deep practice going into longer and longer retentions and holding of the breath. And as you evolve through your pranayama practice, you start to gain a greater ability to move into this stillness. Because when the breath stops, it stops sending the nervous signals from the nervous system into the brain, and therefore the mind can become much calmer. So this is very important because Patanjali also says that the retention of breath after exhalation, when the lungs are empty, removes the obstacles to yoga. And the obstacles to yoga are typically here in the mind. So if we can hold the breath after we have exhaled, when the lungs are empty, and become comfortable with that space, we start to experience something beyond the mind. And this is the true gift of pranayama. Of course, we know about all the other things, the balancing, the activation of the chakras, the energy centers, and even the balancing of the 2 hemispheres of the brain and the harmonizing of the brain waves. These are all very important aspects, but yoga also takes us beyond the body and mind. And that's the true intention of yoga, is to find that space beyond the mind. So I wish you luck with this practice. Thank you.